Does FMJ actually increase your damage to armored zombies? What about boss zombies? Does FMJ actually do anything? I've got the stats, and you might just be surprised on what FMJ actually does and doesn't. As always with these analytical videos, be sure to check the chapters below to see what you're most interested in, or jump to the end to see the results that we came up with. But of course, the journey is always fun to talk about, so let's talk about this journey. The FMJ attachment is really tricky. The description says it increases score streak damage and penetration damage. And so that led us to believe, score streak damage, maybe it does more damage to bosses and special enemies. The penetration damage, maybe it does special armor damage in some way, shape, or form. And so the most basic test I did, I played 6 games with 3 different weapons. I chose an SMG, the C9, I chose the Frostline sniper rifle, and I chose the GPMG LMG. I played a game with FMJ and I played a game without FMJ. I recorded all of the damage numbers, and in one of the simplest spreadsheets you're ever going to see from me, don't worry, it gets better. And as you can see, whether you have FMJ or not, you are dealing the same amount of damage to all of the armored zombies. You're dealing the same amount of damage to the special enemies and the boss enemies too. None of the actual damage numbers actually increased with FMJ. Now, this might have been expected with the special or boss zombie damage, but a lot of people, I've seen a couple videos talking about how, oh my goodness, this is actually really good for armored zombies. So I thought, maybe there's more to test here. Maybe there's something wonky going on with my testing methods. Maybe the numbers are the same, but something else is happening. And so here we have a screenshot of a round 32 heavy armored zombie here with FMJ, and then I have a heavy armored zombie on round 33 with no FMJ. As you can see, both of these numbers are dealing 603 damage. This is our C9 testing games here, but even though these both say 603, maybe, just maybe, there's more damage being dealt to the actual zombie that we can't see. Now, unfortunately, I got a bug round on round 32 without my FMJ attachment here, so that's why we're going to round 33. So that's something we need to keep in mind. This heavy zombie is going to have more health in its health bar, so the C9 doing the same amount of damage is going to do a smaller portion of health here. Just keep that in mind, because this green box right here, this is the exact amount of damage that we did to the zombie here on round 32 with FMJ. Now, we would expect if the FMJ was actually dealing more damage to the heavy zombies, we should expect to see less damage because we don't have FMJ here, and that is technically what we have here. But as you can see, it is, or maybe you can't, because it is such a minuscule, small amount of difference here that I am going to have to say that this difference, it's like a 1 pixel difference of the damage between what we're doing with FMJ and without FMJ, that I sincerely believe that it is just because this is one round more health for this heavy zombie. And in all of the other testing that I've done with FMJ, without FMJ, this has been consistent through everything that I've tested. If the opposite is true, if the reason that this is just one tiny little pixel short because we don't have FMJ, if that's true, which I do not believe it is, then the bonus that you would get with FMJ is so minuscule that it wouldn't even matter, because you're dealing you would need to shoot the zombie so many times before that FMJ bonus even is worth it. So with the unfortunate testing aside, I've got to definitively say that no, FMJ is not dealing any bonus damage to armored zombies through their armor. However, Donuts, what if FMJ is actually dealing more damage to the armor itself and it breaks in less shots? Well, I decided to test that out myself, and I actually used the directed mode to stay on round 11. I used a blue pack 1 as well as a green pack 1 C9 in 4 different sessions. I guess it was the same game, but different sessions with the different types of weapons. And I counted the amount of shots it took to break the armor, not to kill the zombie, but to break the armor. With the green Pack-a-Punch 1 SMG, it took 4 shots to the body and 2 shots to the head to destroy the armor in a light armored zombie, because heavy armored zombies don't appear yet. It took 10 rounds to destroy the chest piece of the Mangler, and it took 5 shots to destroy the helmet of the Mangler. With FMJ, everything was exactly the same. But I also tested this with a blue rarity SMG here, and what I got was I got a decrease of a bullet here to the body, and I got a decrease in certain Mangler shots here. And what I found was with FMJ, we actually had the exact same amount of shots to kill or destroy the armor. So from those 2 tests, it doesn't seem like FMJ actually does any more damage to armored zombies in any way at all. Now, I'm testing Deadshot at the moment of actually testing this out too, and I know for a fact that Deadshot Deadshot actually does decrease the amount of shots to destroy armor. And so when I did put on Deadshot, it actually did decrease the amount of shots it took to destroy the armor, which leads me to believe that yes, FMJ is actually not doing anything to destroy the armor. To be transparent, I'm not happy doing these tests on such a low round in director's mode. I'm happy that it's consistent. I'm happy that it's a low round, but I'd rather do triple pack a punch legendary on, health cap for as much as I can, but I digress. So FMJ doesn't increase any damage to armored zombies in any way. It doesn't make it mitigate less damage. It doesn't deal any more damage to the armor. It doesn't take the armor less shots to kill. It doesn't deal any more damage to special enemies or bosses. Donuts. Is this attachment completely worthless? Well, no. I found one situation, one thing that this FMJ attachment actually does well, and that is penetration damage. What I did was I took these weapons in game and I waited for an insta-kill, and I tried my best. I tried my very best to line up zombies as evenly as I could so I could penetrate as many zombies, that sounds weird, so I could shoot as many zombies in a row as I possibly could. I did that for an entire game without FMJ, with FMJ, and to my surprise, I was getting more kills with FMJ through zombies than without FMJ. As you could see here, these numbers are how many zombies I actually killed. Please don't take these as like hard stats. These are because obviously the minimum you can kill is like one zombie. But as an example, with my normal C9 here, when I shot a zombie in the body, I was getting two kills during an insta kill. I was not getting any penetration whatsoever. When I shot them at their head, I was probably dealing more damage and therefore I could shoot through more zombies. But as soon as I turned on FMJ, I was getting a little bit more. I was getting like 3 or 4 minimum penetrations, and then I was getting up to 7 kills through the head with FMJ. And then I thought, what would be really great to test? This is when I started testing the sniper rifle for all of these things. And what do you know, I was doing about 7 to 12, which, by the way, timeout here, even without insta-kill, this Frostline sniper is able to shoot so many zombies. It has such good penetration power versus the 3 zombies it could kill in Cold War. I just wanted to give some flowers here to Treyarch. Thank you so much for making the snipers actually really good here in Black Ops 6. Anyway, I was getting, 7 to 12. I think maybe I did like 13 with the normal sniper rifle with the insta-kill, just lining them up. But then when I put on FMJ, I got a snipe with 16 zombie kills in one shot. And moving on to the LMG, I thought maybe this would be a good little middle ground here. SMG not very good with bullet penetration. Sniper might be too good for bullet penetration because I might need more zombies than 16 to line up in a row. And with our normal LMG here, I got, maybe 5, maybe 8. I think maybe I got like 9 or 10 every once in a while. But once I threw on FMJ, I got upwards of 13 kills in one bullet of this GPMG. This is where FMJ shines. You are dealing more damage to the entity that is the horde of zombies. I could feel it in this game when I was playing with this SMG and I saved my normal SMG game and then I went back to using FMJ. I could feel, wow, it's easier to kill this whole horde. When I went back to the normal without FMJ, I was like, oh, it's harder to kill this horde. So this FMJ attachment is pretty much useless unless you're trying to shoot multiple zombies in the horde at a time, which in all honesty is really effective. Now, even though it's really cool to see FMJ actually increase the amount of zombies you can damage with one bullet, in terms of exactly how this is working in the game engine and exactly all the code behind it, I don't really know if there's a way to tell that. I don't know if for every single type of weapon there's just a hard cutoff, and then when you put on FMJ, it allows that to be a little bit longer, or you can deal more damage to more zombies, or if I'm remembering my Xbox Ahoy or Drifter in-depth videos from the original Modern Warfare 3 correctly, I seem to remember that with each surface, there's just a percentage of damage that is decreased through each surface. And so zombies are a surface in and of themselves, so it's decreasing a certain percentage of damage through all of the zombies. And that is how I suspect this works, that when you put on FMJ, it just decreases the penetration penalty, you could say, of all of that damage. So there's a smaller percentage of damage being taken away through shooting a zombie, so it allows that damage to carry on to more zombies, if that makes sense. But I can't say for certain, and believe me, I've tried sitting there on around like 2 or 3 and trying to shoot, the 5 zombies that are there, but trying to line up all of these zombies, this is something that it it was kind of hard for me to do, trying to line up all of the zombies that I needed, trying to line them up. So maybe, did I shoot them in the head, the neck, the arm? Because all of those have different bullet modifiers. And then when you have something like the sniper rifle, which is just naturally without insta-kill, dealing damage to 7 zombies at a time, it's just near impossible to see exactly how much damage you're doing to all of the 4 or 5 zombies behind the zombie that you shot, because the damage numbers don't show up. It's just, if there's any way, if there's a developer, you could just DM me, Twitter, Discord, whatever, is how exactly this works. That would be fantastic. Or if you beautiful people have a better way of testing it, please let me know and I might actually look into it. Taking a step back and thinking about the zombie game mode in general, you're not just worried about how much damage your weapon does to one singular zombie, because as you're shooting that zombie, you're shooting the zombies behind it. So increasing the damage that you do to the zombies behind it means that you're increasing your damage to what I said, the entity of the horde itself. So once you kill that front runner zombie, the zombie behind it's going to have even less health with FMJ, so it's easier to kill that zombie. So FMJ is actually a viable attachment to run before you get rapid fire, because that was the next question I had. Well, how does this compare to rapid fire? So what I did is I decided to test out the rapid fire attachment on all of these weapons, and these numbers are all hand tested. I know that the game has its own testing stuff, but I decided to just go in game, use my own footage right when we start firing to right when we are empty. That's when I decided to take my RPM here. You can see with our regular, we've got like a 755 rounds per minute, we've got a 54 rounds per minute, and we've got a 923 rounds per minute for this LMG. This LMG is pretty boss. Slapping on a rapid fire on all of these guys increases it to this RPM, and it actually increases our damage per second pretty consistently with what rapid fire says in game. It's about 6% for the SMG and the LMG here, and it's about 24% with this Frostline sniper. These numbers are pretty rounded. It's pretty rough math. I wasn't super specific with it. So you've got to think to yourself, let's think philosophically here. When are you ever going to want FMJ over rapid fire? Because with rapid fire, you are able to increase your damage per second to even an individual zombie. Rapid fire is always working for you no matter what, whereas FMJ is only working if you're shooting a zombie behind another zombie, which is a lot of time. It's not an inconsequential amount of time that you're shooting zombies behind other zombies, especially at the high rounds with the huge 50+ hordes. But also something I thought about while I was testing this was it's kind of hard to get like 5 to 8 zombies to get lined up behind one another because of how they horde up. They're all kind of bumping into one another, and they don't really stack more than, I would say, like 5 or 6, maybe 8 at the max, which is about what the Frostline sniper can do without FMJ. So in that situation, sure, take rapid fire every single day of the week. However, when you look at this LMG and when you look at this damage per second, this 57,000, if you think this is a high damage per second, remember, this is an LMG. You have this huge amount of damage, but you're also really slow. So that's the trade-off of using an LMG. If you put on rapid fire, yes, you're getting a 6% boost, but like that 57,000 damage per second is already pretty good enough. So you might actually want to choose FMJ over rapid fire with that sort of situation. When your DPS, when your damage is good enough without it, go ahead, throw on FMJ so that way you can deal more damage to, like I said, the entity of the horde itself. Because when you think about it, the reason we like these explosive weapons like the GS45, the Mustang and Sally's, is not because they deal some insane amount of damage, it's because they deal a good amount of damage to the horde. Sniper rifles deal a lot of damage to one individual zombie, but you're not worried about one individual zombie at high rounds, you're worried about the horde of zombies, and FMJ helps you with the horde of zombies. And keep in mind, all of these damage per second numbers are without Deadshot. So in terms of when FMJ is the most useful, I would say it's for weapons that you feel kill individual zombies really well, and you want to use it against the horde of zombies. LMGs would be the perfect example, maybe some assault rifles. But honestly, most of the time, yeah, rapid fire is probably going to do you the best because like this SMG right here, you're not dealing a lot of damage per second, so you're probably going to want to put on that rapid fire attachment. And even with the FMJ attachment, you're still only killing like 3 to maybe 5 to 7 zombies at max. So what did we learn? First and foremost, FMJ does absolutely nothing against armored zombies, special enemies, and boss enemies. It doesn't increase damage against them. It doesn't increase anything about the damage against them. They are just the same with or without FMJ. Secondly, FMJ does not decrease the amount of shots it takes to destroy armor plates. Thirdly, FMJ will increase the amount of zombies that your rounds are able to penetrate, which means you can deal more damage to more zombies per bullet. Exactly how it does it though, I'm not entirely sure. Number 4, while rapid fire is probably going to be your go-to attachment in this slot, if a weapon does enough damage per second on its own, you might want to heavily consider putting FMJ on to increase that damage to the horde. This was an incredibly fun and really eye-opening experience testing out this FMJ attachment. Please let me know your ideas if you have any better ways to test this sort of thing. If I need to retest anything, please let me know in the comment section below. I plan on getting my Deadshot Augment review out next, going through all of the different stats of the Deadshot Augments, and believe me, you are probably using the wrong one, so be sure to subscribe for that. But if you want to see my previous analytical video where I go over how much salvage you actually earn from suppressors, be sure to check it out here, and as always, stay beautiful.